What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop. So with Pokemon Sword and Shield looking better and better with every new trailer that we're getting, the hype is starting to slowly but surely increase in the positive direction for the games, but there is still so much more that we don't know about these titles. Game Freak have done a pretty good job of letting us know what we can expect from the game while not spoiling too much either. And one of the things that fans always want to know about every new Pokemon game are the brand new Pokemon themselves. Even though we have learned about several new Galar Pokemon, there's obviously still many more that we don't know about, and another thing that we don't know about that could happen in these games are brand new evolution methods for these brand new Pokemon. With every generation brings a whole new slew of amazing possibilities, and new evolution methods is something that can obviously happen every generation. We've seen everything from stone evolution to simple level up evolution to literally turning your system upside down in order to evolve a Pokemon. So I think it's safe to say that literally anything could happen at this point, and it's always exciting when we get a brand new form of evolution. So today, I'm pretty sure you've guessed it by now because we are going to count down the top 10 possible new evolution methods for Pokemon Sword and Shield. This list isn't really based on any factual evidence that any of these will happen, it's just a list based on things that I think would be cool to see in a new evolution method, and I think would be really cool if it were introduced in these games. It's also kind of ranked based on how feasible the idea is versus how cool I think it is in general, but yeah, we've got a really good list of possibilities here, so without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and check it out. Alright, first up on the list at number 10 is a bit of a paradox, and that's why I think it would be a cool idea, and that would be a specific Pokemon evolving while holding an Everstone. Now, the reason why this would be interesting and a bit ironic is because an Everstone is the item that you give a Pokemon to hold in order for it to not evolve. So how interesting would it be if there were a specific Pokemon out there that actually required it in order for it to evolve itself? This would very much be a gimmick evolution that would be tied to one specific Pokemon, but obviously we've had a ton of gimmick evolutions before, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. The only thing I think would really need to happen for this to work is for there to be some kind of Everstone replacement item for this Pokemon, so it can kind of have the Everstone treatment like every other Pokemon gets. But other than that, I think it would be a really cool way of introducing a new method of evolution into the Pokemon series. Up next at number 9 is a branched evolution that's based on the Pokeball that you catch a certain Pokemon in. So for instance, a brand new Pokemon could be introduced, and depending on whether you catch it in a Pokeball or a Nest Ball or a Dusk Ball, it's going to evolve into a number of different types of Pokemon. Now, even though this couldn't be represented for every Pokeball because there's way too many Pokeballs for that at this point, I think it would be cool if there was a 2-branch or even a 3-branch evolution line that evolved based on certain Pokeballs that the pre-evolution was caught in. Maybe if you caught it in a Dusk Ball, it could evolve into a Ghost or Dark type, or maybe if you caught it in a Dive Ball, it could evolve into a Water type. I think the fact that there are so many cool different types of Pokeballs like this that represent different types of Pokemon, and the whole game itself is about catching Pokemon anyway, I think it would be really cool to introduce a method of evolution that is revolved around the catching of Pokemon itself, and a branched evolution like this could be a really cool way to do it. Next up at number 8 is a rather simple yet interesting one, and that would be an evolution that is initiated by leveling up a Pokemon with a rare candy. Now, rare candies have been in the game since the beginning, and they are essentially rare items that allow your Pokemon to level up one whole level when they are given the candy to eat. So since this has always been such a distinct way of leveling up your Pokemon, I think it would be really cool if there was a certain Pokemon out there that evolved when exposed to this candy. Rare candies are of course a man-made product in the Pokemon world, so I think this could be a reflection of man's influence, if you will, and through the effects of this man-made product, it causes this Pokemon to evolve into something that it wouldn't normally before. This would also cause the rare candy to just be that much cooler of an item than it already is anyway, which would just be a nice kind of refreshing thing to see within the Pokemon games as you play through them, so I think it would be pretty cool. Next up at number 7 is yet another interesting one, because basically all of these are interesting, let's be honest, and that would be another split evolution that's based on the number of badges you have in the game when you level up a certain Pokemon. So let's say, for instance, you have another 2-branch or even 3-branch evolution that evolves into different Pokemon based on whether you have 2 badges, 4 badges, or 6 badges at any given point in the game. I think on the one hand, this would be really cool because we already have the mechanic of Pokemon not listening to you if you don't have enough badges, so this would further emphasize the fact that badges are really important within the Pokemon world, and in a way also kind of give you new abilities similar to other RPGs that give you certain abilities as you defeat the different bosses. The one major issue I can see with this, though, is that it would be really hard to emphasize a sense of fairness with these evolutions when you have one that literally requires more badges than the other. Sure, you could make them all even statistically, but there would kind of be a sense of elitism with the evolution that requires 6 badges as opposed to the evolution that requires 2, so that might cause some problems, but I think if there was any kind of balanced way to make this happen, it would be really cool, because like I said, we already know that the badges do have an effect on the Pokemon themselves, and it would be cool to just see that taken to the next level. Moving towards the middle of the list at number 6 would be an evolution that is triggered when battling and defeating a specific opponent in battle. This would be a rivalry type evolution with Pokemon like Zangoose and Seviper, for instance, where maybe if Zangoose defeated a Seviper in battle and also leveled up while doing so, it would be able to evolve into another form as a result of its beaming pride after defeating one of its most hated rivals. This would obviously be reserved for specific Pokemon because not every Pokemon out there is going to have a rival, but I don't think it's one that's too far-fetched by any stretch of the imagination, and I would not be surprised if we see it in a future Pokemon game, maybe even Pokemon Sword and Shield. Directly in the middle of the list at number 5 is an evolution that would be triggered by different kinds of status conditions. So say there's a brand new Pokemon out there that defeats an opponent in battle and levels up, but finishes the battle while being poisoned, for instance. This would allow the Pokemon to evolve into a new poison type evolution, and this could also happen for the other elemental statuses, if you will, like being burned, being paralyzed, or maybe even being asleep. Now, this obviously wouldn't happen the second a Pokemon levels up with a status condition. There would obviously have to be some kind of minimum level it would have to hit first, but I think this could provide for a very interesting kind of branched evolution if it ever came to be in the games. I do kind of feel like you would have to be careful with the whole elemental evolution thing, because obviously that's kind of Eevee's thing and you wouldn't really want to copy Eevee in that way, but I do feel like there's opportunity to make this work in some way, shape, or form, and I would absolutely welcome seeing it if it did end up happening in Pokemon Sword and Shield or any subsequent Pokemon game. Now we're getting into the bigger boys at number 4, and at number 4 is a Pokemon that will evolve after having it in your party when you have caught a certain number of Pokemon. Like I mentioned with the specific Pokeball method of evolution, given the fact that catching Pokemon is such a huge part of the Pokemon games themselves, and it's even a big part of the Pokemon world's lore, I think it makes all the sense in the world to have a Pokemon evolve based on how many Pokemon you catch, not only just because those two things are so inherently related to one another in terms of a Pokemon's growth, but it also is just an incentive for players to catch as many Pokemon as possible, which you kind of want them to do anyway, since it's the point of the game. Maybe this could even be a payoff type of evolution, if you will, where there's a Pokemon that will only evolve after you have caught like 150 Pokemon while having it in its party, but then when it evolves, it actually evolves into an insanely cool Pokemon that is really strong as well, so not only did you get to catch a bunch of Pokemon and fill up your Pokedex, but you now also have the reward of having a really awesome Pokemon for completing that challenge. I think this is one that could legitimately happen sooner or later, and I think Pokemon Sword and Shield is as good of an opportunity as any to make it happen, so who knows, maybe we will see something like this come the release of the games. And now we are officially into the top 3, and coming in at 3rd place would be an evolution that is triggered by trading a Pokemon to the opposite version in which you caught it in. Trade evolutions have obviously been a thing since the beginning, and even though they've kind of gotten a bit stale and not really loved as much as they might have been in the past because they can be somewhat tedious and annoying, I do think that adding in a new method of evolution that's not only a trade evolution but is a trading to the opposite version kind of evolution would be the epitome of what Pokemon is all about. As much as people might not really enjoy them that much anymore, I really don't think trading evolutions are going anywhere because they were one of the building blocks of what made Pokemon Pokemon. It's one of its founding principles of going out into the world and interacting with other people, so I really don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon, and if it's not going anywhere, why don't we add another unique twist on it by having a Pokemon that evolves when traded over to the opposite version of the game it came from. I think this would just further exemplify that aspect and that core quality of Pokemon and what made it so interesting and unique in the first place. And it's never a bad thing to be reminded of your roots, and this could be the perfect way to do it. So even though I'm personally not the biggest fan of trade evolutions, I think something like this would be pretty cool. And coming in at the runner-up spot is one that I would absolutely love to see so badly, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen, to be honest with you, and that would be a Pokemon that evolves once it faints in battle. Now, the idea of a faint evolution isn't anything new because it's been talked about numerous times on the internet before amongst the fan base, particularly with a ghost-type evolution. People have thrown this idea around where if Eevee faints in battle while leveling up, this could be the way for it to evolve into a ghost type. And when it comes to this kind of evolution, this is pretty much how you would have to do it with a Pokemon evolving into a ghost type because that's really the only thing that makes sense. But even still, I think it would be such a cool way for a Pokemon to evolve. The reason why this is most likely just not going to happen though is because Game Freak wouldn't want to do anything to quote-unquote promote the fainting or killing of a Pokemon in battle just so you can get an evolution. That would definitely get all the animal activists in a tizzy, so it's just really not good for their brand to risk something like that. But hopefully one day when Pokemon is a little more of a mature franchise, if you will, that appeals even more to its growing and older fan base, maybe we will see something like this at some point, and I would love it because it's just such a fascinating idea. And for the number 1 pick, we have something that isn't even really technically a method of evolution at all, but it does relate to evolution, and it would be absolutely just so amazing to see, and that's why I had to include it on the list at number 1, and that would be the concept of Pokemon being able to evolve in mid-battle once they reach their evolution requirements without having to wait till the end of the battle in order to do so. We've seen in the anime several times where Ash or whoever else will be in an intense battle and their Pokemon who is being pushed to the limit will evolve as the result of this crazy battle, and it completely changes the tide of the outcome completely and just throws a wrench into the strategy of the battle itself. Likewise though, in the games, this does not happen. Sure, you can level up a Pokemon to its level or method of evolution in the battle, but it will not actually evolve until the end of the battle, and only if it didn't faint during the battle itself. However, given that it's 2019, we're on the Switch, and we frankly just have the technology, I really don't see any reason why this should not be a thing. Not only would it just be a grand spectacle and just be such a fascinating new way of playing Pokemon and evolving your Pokemon, it would also completely change battling, at least within the main story, because you could basically be on your heels, almost about to lose, but then somehow faint a Pokemon, your Pokemon levels up to the level it needs to evolve, and then actually evolves and gets that huge strength and stat boost, which could completely change the tide of a battle, which would be amazingly fun for the gameplay. And you wouldn't even have to worry about this affecting the competitive scene either, because in competitive gameplay, Pokemon do not gain experience. So this would purely be something for the main story of a Pokemon game, and it would just make the main story that much more fun to play through. Because with so many people out there that frankly just rush through the story of a Pokemon game so they can train up their competitive team, adding something like this that makes the main campaign of the game that much more fun to play through would just make people appreciate the main part of the game that much more, and I think could do wonders for the overall playability and enjoyability of the game. So Game Freak, in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I know you haven't announced it, you realistically probably won't, but please, for the love of Arceus, make it happen. And there we have it, everybody. Those are my top 10 new evolution methods for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, I do want to mention that some of these ideas came from a couple different Reddit threads, so if you'd like to look into this idea even more, you can check out those threads in the description below. But as far as my list goes, what did you guys think of it? Are these evolution ideas completely crazy, or could you see them happening? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and if you have another new idea for an evolution method, definitely leave that as well. Also, be sure to leave the video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new for more Pokemon content literally every week. And if you would like to support the channel further, consider doing so by following me on Spotify and listening to some of my Pokemon remixes there, because that's the easiest way to seriously make the biggest difference on the channel, and it means the world. Anyways though, with all that being said, I'll be back on Thursday with another video, so hit that notification bell so you can know when it goes live, and as always, until the next one, you know I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.